Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. It is audible? Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So all of us assembled here are practicing Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'll rephrase my question. Are the members of the August assembly here trying to practice Krishna consciousness according to how it has been described by Srila Prabhupada in his books and by our institution, International Society for Krishna Consciousness? Yes? So we are all on the same page? We are all, yeah? We are trying to practice Krishna consciousness. Hopefully, we'll go on to the next level soon enough. Isn't it? In the association of our own mind and senses. Isn't it? So we practice Krishna consciousness, we like Krishna consciousness, we are convinced by the process of Krishna consciousness. We have spent our time and energy and used our intelligence to understand the subject matter of Krishna consciousness. Yes? So now, Hari Bol. So now what is it about Krishna consciousness that appeals the most to most of the practitioners? Number one is prasad. Always. Especially if you go on a yatra. Many devotees, when they come back from the yatra, they have the choicest of prasadam to bring back for all the other devotees back home, isn't it? To distribute. So prasad. What else do we like in Krishna consciousness? Not like, I would say, appeals the most. Stories. We all love to hear stories. Then there are other aspects. If we make an announcement that every day there's going to be a new story being told for the next 18 days, we'll have full audience. Isn't it? Especially if the narration is very good. We like stories. Would you like to hear a story? Yes. I knew it. Because I also like to hear stories. Listen to stories, especially when I am narrating it. So this is a story from the previous century, the 20th century. That's not so much in the past, right? Right? It's just in the 20th century. This is a story about a very revered saint called as Babaji Maharaj. Maybe you may have heard his name. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. You've heard his name? Yes. Why have you heard his name? Or how have you heard his name? The spiritual master of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that's correct. Is there in the Guru Parampara. We have to know him, isn't it? So what is this pranam mantra? Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambodhe Padambujayate Namaha. And what is the translation? He is a manifestation. He is a manifestation of Vairagya. He is showing extreme Vairagya. Well, you have your famous companion, isn't it? The iPhone? Google. So Namah means offering obeisances, right? So Namo, Gaura Kishore, I offer obeisances unto Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Sakshad, what is Sakshad? Directly manifestation. Vairagya Murtaye. What is the understanding of Vairagya Murtaye? Form of renunciation. Yes. So, I offer my obeisances or humble obeisances to Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who is the very manifestation of renunciation. Alright? Then, Vipralambha. What is Vipralambha? Mood of separation, yes. Rasambodhe. So it's the ocean of mellows. Padam Bhujai. Te Namaha. Te unto Namaha. Obeisances. Offering of obeisances. So we also offer obeisances to the lotus feet of this great personality who is Vipralambha Rasambodhe, was always immersed in the ocean of Vipralambha Rasa, in the ocean or the mood, was constantly in the deep mood of feeling of separation. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is famous as very strict Maharaj. Very strict. I'll just narrate this story and then again we'll come back to some interaction. So he was living in Navadvip at this point of time, in the holy town of Mayapur. So, little girls, where is Navadvip? Anyone? In which country? In India. It's in Bengal? Okay. So Bengal, India. Yes? It is in Bengal, India. That's correct. And why is Navadvip famous? Who would like to answer that? Yes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did his pastimes there. All the naughty pastimes, right? Isn't it? You would jump into the river and jump out. Just like Hanuman and Krishna. You like Hanuman and Krishna? Good. They used to do pranks when they were... So are you a grown-up or are you're a kid right now?
We're following the younger versions.
Not as pranky as them. All right. I'll pass on the message to them. Okay? Yeah. So Navadvip Mayapur. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is unmanifest right now. He's not there in Navadvip Mayapur, right? In the manifest form. Gaurkito Kishore Das Babaji is there. And which is a famous river in Navadvip? Children? There is a very famous river in Navadvip. The Ganga. Do you know any other names of the Ganga? Yes? Is Mansi Ganga. Okay. There's another name called as Jahnavi. You know why? Would you like to hear why? But I'm not in the mood to tell you. After class you can ask me, alright? I'll tell you the story about why Ganga is also called as Jahnavi. Alright? You know what is the spelling of Jahnavi? Would you like to try? J A Jahnavi. Like John. How do you spell John? The first letter. Yes. You don't remember, but you'd said G. Therefore, everyone's like. Okay, J.
You were trying to say J, but you said G.
That's all right. That's all right. So Jahnavi, all right. So this river is also respected as a goddess, and she's also revered as a mother. So generally, what do mothers do? They give you a nice place to rest, and they give you lots of food. So a lot of saintly persons, they live on the banks of the river Ganga, because there they get lots of food and a place to rest. So Gaurkishore Das Babaji would also stay on the banks of the river Ganga. He was very famous. There was no social media at that time. Still he was quite famous, by word of mouth. And do you know what happens when you are famous? People like to come and take selfies with you. That is what happens with famous people, isn't it? Now, there are few famous people even in our institution. So whenever you are near them, what do? Click a picture? Always. Isn't it? So famous people attract others towards them. A lot of people would come to meet Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Some of them would come to receive his blessings. Some would come to have better understanding of philosophy. Others would come so that they could go back and tell the people at home, do you know whom did I meet? I met the famous Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So Babaji Maharaj was very strict. Is it easy to kind of detect what is the intent of people? Is it easy for adults to do that, from their body language? If you've lived sufficiently in this material world, like lived through your 30s and 40s, do you think you could 6 times out of 10 or 7 times out of 10 understand the intent of somebody who's there around you. So what do you think happens with people who are really very perceptive, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj? So he would understand from the body language and otherwise too. What is the intent of the people who have come to meet him? And accordingly he would respond. Now I could have made this statement in a very mystical way, right? I could have said that Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj had this power because of his devotional, purity, that he could easily understand the mind of others. And we would all have felt, oh really? He's such a great person, isn't it? But sometimes we just know that greatness isn't common things. Greatness is in day-to-day affairs. You want to know what is greatness? Do this. And keep it closed. And when you feel uncomfortable, release your nostrils. Now you feel the greatness of air. Correct? Now you understand the mysticism of the air that you breathe in. Otherwise it's a regular affair, isn't it? So typically, most of the times what we consider to be great is only things that we have missed out seeing. We do not have clarity of sight. So as soon as we consider things to be very mystical, we want to offer that a pedestal to worship. Yes? So when we relate to Krishna in the form of the holy name, when we relate to Krishna, when we hear Krishna's stories, just imagine if we start worshipping Krishna. Oh, Krishna is worshipable. Whenever the stories begin, I have to just offer Dandvat Pranams and not listen. So, Hare Krishna. So when Krishna is worshipped in the deity form and we are doing the worship, then we have to relate to Krishna as a very mystical person. However, we are not directly worshipping Krishna, but we are participating in Kirtan. Have fun. There's no need to have the official outlook of life. You know what is official? Where you have to pay attention to all the rules and regulations. What are the rules and regulations that we pay attention to while doing Kirtan? We just have fun. Sometimes we may not even have Kartal and Mridan, but we are super excited. 10 friends come together. They've had very nice prasad and they start chanting Kirtan, jumping up and down. There's no music. Yes. Oh yeah. Or sometimes devotees are very innovative, so they use somebody else's back. Or they use their hands. Yes? So you see how we can relate to different things according to what is the intent of that relationship. Krishna in the deity form, if we are worshipping Krishna, then the intent is that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we are menial servants. Krishna in Kirtan in the form of holy names, Krishna is a friend. And therefore, we are having fun with Krishna in the form of the holy names. Let's suppose it's going to be Kirtan and we are in the mood of deity worship. Hare Krishna, Krishna, jump up, Hare Krishna, and you jump up. It would be weird. So all the rasas, the different kinds of rasas are experienced without we noticing that we are experiencing it. And that is where, when we do sadhana in the form of japa, it becomes really very cumbersome. When you are tasting very nice food and you are very happy after the taste that you have experienced, try and do japa. It will be, at least for the first few mahamantras, it will be really very wonderful because you're in a happy mood. You've tasted something really good. And then you have had something really miserable. And you have to chant. It's like you have to really struggle to bring the mind to that platform of focus. So Krishna consciousness is actually very simple. If you try to relate to it in terms of personal experiences also. But if you only relate to Krishna consciousness, like to the letter of the law, as they say, then it could become a little cumbersome. So next time, if you want to do good japa, that small tip, eat that which you find the most tasty. Early morning, have that. And enjoy it. Try it out. Enjoy that flavor. And then sit down and do your chanting. The first few rounds will go very well. Another, maybe let me try to put it in ways that it seems as an austerity. If you are very happy to be with somebody else whom you respect a lot, and you sit down with them to do japa. So what has changed? The taste, the flavor of the relationship has changed. The mind is experiencing that flavor. So make Krishna consciousness, especially chanting of the holy names on the beads, a little more lovable activity. Small tips. Now if you're going to always beat up the mind with 10 offenses of the holy names and like, after some time the mind says, it's like a child that has received a lot of beatings. It's not completely immune to it. Therefore, when you chant the 10 offenses, you are in the same mood as when you are chanting the Mahamantra on the japa beads. Totally oblivious to it. By the time you actually realize that you have to chant, 16 rounds are over. And then you're like, tomorrow onwards I'm going to do it very sincerely. Yeah? So coming back to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was a very perceptive person. Very perceptive. People thought that he had special powers because they could not accept the fact that he could perceive things. He had clarity of vision. They're like, oh, Babaji has special powers. Very perceptive. And where did this perception come from? Where did he have this clarity of vision? Because of his own sincerity in whatever he did in life. When you do any activity very sincerely in life, for that moment, you have clarity in life. Next time when you have that experience, please note this point. When you do any activity very sincerely, it's as if your mind has expanded. It's opened up because you've done that activity sincerely. So lack of sincerity or some deficiency in sincerity makes the mind closed up. Because the mind is fearful. It doesn't know. We don't realize why. But whenever there's no clarity in life, one becomes sankuchit, narrow-minded. Yeah? So, a landlord, a rich landlord, like really, really rich landlord. Do you like, I mean, without being very outwardly Krishna conscious, we are not trying to prove that anyone is not really Krishna conscious here, but being simple-minded people. Do you like richness? I'm not saying that, do you want richness? I'm not saying that. So it won't spoil your vrata of Krishna consciousness. You can appreciate it if somebody else has, right? Oh, Krishna is so merciful on that person. Like that. So do you like richness? Richness means wealth. You like? Does anyone like filth? Then why do we say filthy rich? That's just to make the atmosphere a little light. So very rich gentleman. Was known to be quite pious, generous, and devotional. So this rich landlord, he comes along with his friend to meet Babaji Maharaj. Now sometimes Babaji Maharaj would be in a different mood. Today was that mood when this gentleman came. So a couple of people were there with Babaji Maharaj. And this landlord and his friend approached him. Everyone, or the two other people who were there with Babaji Maharaj, they immediately recognized him. Can you just imagine? Without social media, this gentleman was from a different place. But his fame was widespread. They immediately recognized him. Oh, this is a landlord. So generous. What is a word that we use a lot in our devotee circles? I mean, devotional circles, not devotee circles. Sorry for using that word. Devotional circles. Advanced. Have you ever used this word for someone else in devotional circles? Like he or she is so advanced. Prabhu, Mataji, the little grain that had fallen from a plate onto the floor, you lifted it up and you've eaten it. You're so advanced. Yeah? It begins from there. Isn't it? Have you ever been at the receiving end of this word? How does it feel? No, how does it feel when you're alone? Not when you're amongst others. I'm not wanting you to give an answer. I just want you to peep into whatever you were feeling at that time when you're alone. Like maybe they're right. At least for that moment, no? Maybe I had some advanced level of consciousness. So an advanced devotee had come to meet Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. And the person was chanting the holy names of the Lord. Like, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Totally oblivious of his surroundings. Was feeling such deep emotions that the person could hardly walk. Now we have seen a lot of dramas, especially in devotional circles. And whenever devotees have to manifest emotive states, you're like, drama chal raha hai. There's a drama going on, right? But here, this wasn't an act being put on. Tears rolling down the eyes, sometimes voice getting choked. His friend was really supporting him and telling him, like encouraging him, please come, we are almost there. And his friend was also quite well known as a very sincere practitioner. The landlord and his friend, both of them. They approached Babaji Maharaj. Babaji Maharaj went into a different mood. Who's there? This was the time when Babaji Maharaj would, in his interactions, appear to have lost vision. No sight. Who's there? So the people close to him, they said, Babaji Maharaj, such and such advanced person has come. Babaji Maharaj, just looking at him, we can remember Krishna. Babaji Maharaj this, Babaji Maharaj that. So Babaji Maharaj asked, why is he here? So his friend, the landlord's friend, came up to Babaji Maharaj, offered obeisances. The landlord also offered obeisances. Very, very sincerely. And said that Babaji Maharaj, my friend and I were discussing the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the section of Lord Chaitanya having a discussion with Ramananda Rai. It is called as Ramananda Samvad. What is Samvad? Dialogue, conversation, discussion. So Samvad. Samvad basically means everyone that is involved in that conversation is very congenial to each other. So they were having that discussion, and at a certain point, they were not able to figure out a certain aspect of that conversation. They had the views, but they couldn't come to a consensus. So the friend had suggested to the landlord that let us go and meet Babaji Maharaj. And we'll seek his perspective too. So they had come to meet Babaji Maharaj. So Babaji Maharaj he turned to the friend and he said, if you want to understand the essence of this particular aspect of the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, give up your association with this landlord. Come and stay with me. Live a very frugal life. All I can offer you is the dress of mendicant. Beyond that, there's no assurance of any means of sustenance. There's no assurance of that. So if that is what you desire, this is the offer. Everyone was shocked. When the friend and the landlord heard that, they thought that it is better they leave. So they left. Is this a nice story? Now my question is, what if Babaji Maharaj was here and we had an opportunity to visit him? How many of us would be eager to visit him if he's in this mood? Sincerely. But then if you don't visit him, then how will you get blessings? So what should we do? You visit him, and if he goes into that different kind of mood, then we know what could be there on offer. What if you to tell us that if you really want to do your chanting very nicely, stay right here. Now, what are you going to do? Would the thought come that if I don't stay, would it be an offense? Is it a very tricky situation? Yeah? At this point of time, do you think gender discrimination is a very good situation? Because Babaji Maharaj may not meet a particular gender. So do you think that is safe? Sometimes different biases have their utilities too, don't they? I thought I'm just joking. So how should we feel about this? Are we suggesting that in today's times, someone like Babaji Maharaj is not there? And therefore we are like, okay, feel a little relieved. Or if someone is there, then how do we take the interaction? Did we realize that we were having that kind of interaction? So many different angles to analyze. So the stories can just be narrated as simple stories, or we could try and open it threadbare. So Babaji Maharaj is perfectly undisturbed. These gentlemen, they leave. Who here likes the Bhagavad Gita? Who are lazy enough not to put up their hands? Because I know if I ask who doesn't like, no one is going to, say that they don't like. So everyone likes the Bhagavad Gita, the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So today we are going to, in this perspective of Babaji Maharaj, we are going to consider one verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Satkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chevayat kriyetat iha proktam rajasam chalamadhruvam. This is 17th chapter, 18th verse. Kriyate tad iha proktam rajasam chalamadhruvam. So particular topic has been considered to be chalam and adhruvam. Chalam means not really dependable. Like chanchalam. Chanchalam is absolutely not dependable. Chalam. Chalam means always shaking, moving. Alright? Chalam also means that which is destructible. Alright? Adhruvam. Adhruvam means not fixed. Doesn't have a very good foundation. So again, very shaky. So chalam, adhruvam. Chalam and adhruvam are the two qualities being mentioned for a particular activity in rajas. Rajas is the mode of passion. Typically, this is the nature of most of the activities in the mode of passion. The mode of passion is like the run of the cheetah. You know cheetah? A cheetah is considered to be very fast. In fact, the fastest, I guess. But only for a few seconds. A burst of energy can only be maintained for maybe 45 seconds to a minute. That is passion. It's like for most of you in Silicon Valley, it is deployment time. Passion. Like one night, 2 nights, and then crash. So, chalam adhruvam. Not sustainable and very shaky. Alright? Another understanding of passion is when you try to, another activity, when you try to cook, looking at YouTube. For those of you who have experienced it, it's always not the product that you want to be, final product is not exactly what you want it to be. So there's a lot of energy you put, but chalam adhruvam. Your mind is not really focused. It's not really very stable. Alright, so this we've understood. Satkara, mana, pujartham. You know what is satkar? Sat, nice. Kar, kriya. So what is satkar? Nice activity. See, so simple. Right? Satkar. Basically it means receiving respect or giving respect. When you offer satkar to someone, you want to offer respect. When you receive satkar from others, you are accepting their respect. Mana. What is man? Man. Where did our Manasi Ganga go? So another place famous in Varsana Vrindavan. What is that? Mangad. What is another famous lake? Mansarovar. What is man? No, it's not mind. Man is honor. Honor. Alright? So, if one has been honored, one has received man. If one has dishonored, then apaman. Right? One is displaying emotions of not having properly honored. It is called as display of man. Isn't it? So man, honor. Puja. You know who's puja? Puja is worship. Satkar artham. Although the word has been only used for puja artham, but the word artham will be applied to all three. Otherwise, just having man and satkar is meaningless. And using artham for each one will be against the laws of grammar, because if you look at the Devanagari script, it will be a word, conjoined word. Satkar man pujartham. So the word artham applies to all three. So artham means, what is artha? Meaning. Basically, artha, more than meaning, artha is benefit. So whatever is meaningful is beneficial. Artha is benefit. Hence, artha is also used for, it is a synonym for wealth. Synonym for wealth. Artha is also synonym for well-being. Labharthi. Beneficiary. So it is all about, artha is benefit. Alright? So when one is wanting the benefit of satkar, wanting the benefit of man, or wanting the benefit of puja, wanting to be respected, wanting to be honored, and wanting to be worshipped. Tapo dambhena chaivayat. And when one does tapasya, it is in the mood of dambha. You know what is dambha? Arrogance. Dambha. Arrogance. Arrogance basically means that my way or the highway. Correct? Therefore, dambha, that ambha, like stambha. What is stambha? Pillar. Immovable. So the stambha is also saying my way or the highway. I'm not going to move out. Alright? So dambha. Dambha means arrogance, but not just arrogance. It basically means that I am the boss. Everyone else is simply my follower. So tapo dambhena. Tapo dambhena. If one has that kind of mood in doing tapasya, chevayat, chaevayat. So along with these three characteristics, and tapo dambhena, kriyate tad iha proktam. Kriyate tad iha. Iha means here in this world. If this is how one is doing austerity, then rajasam chalamadhruvam. Proktam, that is called as austerity in the mode of passion. So why did we bring up this topic? What do they say? One finger is pointing towards someone. How many fingers point towards you? How does 4 come? Like this?
Yeah, at least
3.
some extent it's fine.
Okay, 3 and quarter. 3 plus. So, are we trying to point fingers at the landlord? So why did we bring up this topic? Because I want to make everyone's life a little miserable. Let us try to understand what each one of these inclinations are in simple words. Alright? Everyone is still feeling alive. I'm trying my best not to fall asleep. Therefore, I'm not just in the narrative mode. Yeah? Okay. Whenever we feel very comfortable with people welcoming us, not because it is the culture, not just because of that, we feel comfortable. I won't say happy, but comfortable. I'm welcomed here. Whenever we feel a slight desire, or again we get comfortable with a group of people welcoming us. Mataji, please come. Prabhuji, please come. In the old days, that would be like when an entire village welcomes someone. If we feel okay, if people go a little out of the way to offer us a place to sit, and we are like, thank you. If we feel very comfortable when people talk very sweetly to us, we feel comfortable when people express their gratitude to us. We feel comfortable occasionally, or maybe more than occasionally, when we hear our name being called out, that today on book distribution, today for prasadam distribution, or we are uncomfortable if it is not called out. But today we'll just pick up comfortable. Because if I say uncomfortable, it becomes too direct, isn't it? Let us keep it very simple and subtle. So these are certain activities where if we feel comfortable, that means somewhere there is the idea of satkar within our hearts. Receiving respect. If we are comfortable with even our colleagues telling us that how we have been a great influence in their lives. If we are comfortable when people close to us express how austere we are. If you are comfortable, if people say, you are an initiated devotee, it means there is the seed of this desire to receive respect or satkar. Interesting? Okay. What else? If you are comfortable with the idea that someone says, oh, such and such person is our guide, we are their guide. If you are comfortable when such people give us good reception, they give us first preference when prasad is being distributed. If you're comfortable, if they give that respect even to our family members. Like our husband or wife, our parents, mother or father, our children. Satkar. We always say that anarthas are very subtle, right? Okay, so any flashbacks? So this is about satkar. What if someone's, okay, what other things? If you're comfortable when someone tells us, your standards of cleanliness are like high-class brahmanas. Satkar. Now coming to man. If there are occasions in our life, on and off, sometimes less, sometimes more, where we have this aspiration, or there is this idea within our minds. I'm a little sense controlled, at least compared to them. I'm always soft spoken, or I'm always truthful. I try to be as much as possible. I'm a very non-violent person. I'm a very practical person. These are all expressions of man, or wanting honor. Now sometimes we say that, it's good to be appreciated. How much is too much, we have not been able to define. And how less is too less, that also we have not been able to define. So if it is too less, then we are in depression. We are not happy. If it's too much, then we feel entitled. If it is too much, we feel entitled. Yeah, I mean, yes. So, in this situation, if there is expectation that if we come into a gathering where everyone else is so-called junior, then they show respect to us by standing up. If they don't, then we feel uncomfortable. We may not say anything, but at least for the next couple of days during japa, some thought is going to haunt us. But tomorrow onwards, I have to teach them Vaishnava etiquette. Next is Ishta Goshti at the temple. Maharaj, we should have lectures on Vaishnava etiquette. Because we had direct experience of the lack of it. So such expressions are the expression of man, wanting honor. If we feel not happy, but if we feel appreciated when people stand up in response to our achievements, or if we feel comfortable when people appreciate us by offering us some, a token in the form of prize or certificate. And especially if we take a picture of it and post it on social media. Man. Manartham, satkarartham. Now we'll come to pujartham. If we get comfortable if people take our footwear and bring it to us. If we get comfortable if people bring our bead bags to us. Or ask us, can we take a bead bag and we'll put it for you. If we get comfortable with people wanting to make a plate for us for prasad. There are certain places where, considering a person's age, there are 5 kinds of categories that we always feel that they are beyond any prescriptions. Typically, those who are the brahmanas, the elderly, children, poor people, or cows, like that. Yeah? The rest, if that is what we get comfortable with, if we are comfortable with people offering us garlands, or noticing when we have not been offered a garland, if you are comfortable with the idea that people invite us first to receive Charnamrit before someone else, just because we got initiated a day before someone else, or for Abhishek, no. This devotee was initiated 2 hours before us. Senior. And if you're comfortable with that, if you're comfortable with people offering us obeisances, if you're comfortable with people wanting, or if we get used to the idea of people taking the dust from wherever we've walked, or the idea that after we die, they'll create some smarak for us, not some hadis, smarak. Something to remember us by. And after that, at least for some time, they'll come and offer some lamp. Our children will do that. Sometimes we feel like that. This is all pujartha. Wanting to receive worship. So whenever we do any activity with these three characteristics, it is a mode of. So if you want passion to reduce, Hindi, everyone knows Hindi. What is the word for reduce? So when you add that to passion, what happens? Thank you very much. So if you want to be a little careful of this mode of passion, then compassion, isn't it? What does compassion mean? Be compassionate to yourself. So you could take it literally as compassion means khud par daya karo. Or compassion means load on the passion. No, basically what? Why? Because here it is stated that the results of these activities are going to be chalam and adhruvam. And that is why for practitioners, that which matters most, they practice. That is why they are called practitioners. We are called practitioners, right? All of us are called practitioners. We are all trying to practice. So as practitioners, are we trying to practice deity worship? What do you think? As practitioners, are we trying to read the Gita, the Bhagavatam? What do you think? As practitioners, are we trying to visit the holy places? Yes or no? Yes? No. As practitioners, we are practicing to chant the holy names of the Lord. That is our practice. Is it true or false? That is our practice. Everything else is so that it can assist us in this practice. That is our understanding, right? So as practitioners, if this is there within our consciousness, then what will be the result of our practice? Chalam adhruvam. It will always feel unfulfilling and incomplete. Now do we realize why we always come up with this question to somebody who's a passing by senior? How do I become more sincere in my ... starting with a C, ending with an G? How do I become more sincere? Why? Because it is constantly chalam and adhruvam. The verse before this describes how to be very focused in one's practice, because it describes practice in the mode of goodness. So you can read it at your leisure. All right? Another thing is, when here it is said, kriyate tat iha proktam, kriyate tat iha. Here in this world it is called as, however, there is a play of words here also. Tat iha means here in this material world. Basically it means that these activities that we render in the mode of passion, the results of these activities will be right here. Because the results of activities in the mode of goodness takes us to higher destination. The results which takes us to lower destination is the mode of ignorance. And what is the result of that which we do in the mode of passion? Stay right there. So therefore, the result of our practices will be right here, right now. In what form? In the form of the puja, in the form of the man, in the form of the satkar. And therefore, the more you practice in the mode of, you do your practice in the mode of passion, rajasam, the more you are going to receive all of these things in devotional circles, because that is what we aspire for. Is that very deep? It's not. It's very simple. Well, it is simple, right? So why do you think it is very deep? Because these are regular events that have happened in our life. We have chosen to overlook them. Hence, when we give a class like this, it sounds to be deep and mystical. Whereas it is simply a perspective. There's just clarity. Isn't it? So what do we do now? We go back to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's story. Right? There was some event, something had happened on the freeway. We had to take a detour through the Bhagavad Gita. Now we're back on the freeway. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was asked by the people who were there with him, Babaji Maharaj, we could see that this person was really very devotional. What is it that you noticed that we did not? So Babaji Maharaj spoke. He said, after speaking with him for a few moments, I could understand that he had no good intentions in his performance of devotional service. Did Babaji Maharaj say that I saw that? No, he said after speaking with him for a few moments. So why couldn't the others realize it? Because they were never speaking with him. They were just observing him. This gentleman was initiated before everyone else here. Advanced devotee. They were just observing. They were not analyzing. They were not experimenting. When I say experimenting, they were not doing any activity to analyze the situation. They're just like, if this is what has been said, then this is how we receive it. One cannot measure a person's devotion by the approval of the general mass. If a person is not serious in the devotional service, then even if such a person shows or has the symptoms of renunciation, non-attachment, and various other symptoms, still such a person cannot be considered to have real renunciation or detachment. And the litmus test is a difficult situation. As soon as they realized that Gaur Kishore Das Babaji had created a difficult situation for them, they left. So whenever such difficult tests come, that renunciation, which is in the mode of passion, because it's shaky, it is incomplete, it is chalam adhruvam, it ceases. Real detachment is an ornament. Real detachment is only attracted to seekers. Seekers who are actually fixed in their intention to perform devotional service. While performing practical devotional service, one should never exhibit our devotional symptoms. One should perform devotional service in such a way that one's deep attachment to the Lord increases within the heart. Even if one displays hundreds upon thousands of external attachment, it is not necessary that one will receive the blessings of the Lord. Because internally the attachment is not as strong. Therefore, if one really wants to possess genuine, deep service and loving attitude towards the Supreme Lord, then one will never claim, even in one's dreams, to be an advanced devotee. One will actually go out of the way to reveal that one is ignorant. Because then one gets more opportunities. See, as soon as we become senior devotees, we get lesser opportunities except when there are special occasions. Is it true? The others are like, Prabhuji, Mataji, if all senior devotees will do, then where will we do? When will we do services? So let us go and sweep the temple floor. So if externally we show that we are not as advanced, we get the services. And that is the secret. Otherwise, externally, we will be put in a position of accepting honor and respect. So we cannot leave and go away to a secluded place. And at the same time, we have to cultivate strong internal attachment. That is why we are practicing Krishna consciousness. In simple words, when we are really attached to something, the goal is to be happy. So internal attachment will create real happiness. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments?
Ravi, you talked about getting comfortable. Can you go a little deeper and what are those symptoms of getting comfortable? Like, how do you know?
I'll have to repeat the first hour of my class.
Maybe I came late, sorry, Prabhu.
Yeah. We already covered that. But anyone would like to summarize? Getting comfortable, how did we come about that discussion? Anyone would like to summarize? No? Somebody please summarize. It will make all of us feel happy that we spent our time here. About an hour and a half. Hour and 15 minutes. Yes.
If you like this, that somebody's honoring you, somebody's giving you respect, somebody's making your plate, or doing things for you. If you like that and you are enjoying that, so that's what is very comfortable.
That is correct. However, the challenges to that approach would be that it seems to be a little theoretical, isn't it? We approached it in a little more practical way, day to day, events that happen in our lives. So what we are trying to discuss here was, how is it that we become comfortable with these events happening in our life? In trying to say that the external world, the material world is really a dangerous place, have we created a world with sufficient danger within ourselves too? Sufficient challenges amongst ourselves too. How? Should we stop accepting certain favors from people? Is that possible? People will kind of feel that we have a stiff upper lip, we are too British. It starts feeling that we are a little bit arrogant. So can we stop that? We cannot. So is it too late, or can we take a U-turn and actually make it appear that we are like bechara people, like we still need a lot of inputs to be focused in devotional practice. Just as anyone who gets termed to be a newcomer, is there some way we can do that? Is there a way that we can try and become a little more assertive in taking up taking up more and more menial work? Is it possible that we do not become a member of the club who kind of say nowadays to the few others, in our times there was no one here, few devotees only, and we used to do all of this. Can we stop going down that slope? Because if we go down that slope, the only benefit is that we will get more acceleration and reach the destination where we don't want to go faster. So what is it that we can do? Is it too late to kind of change our image? Because that is the image that we have created. Or we have let that image be created for ourselves. Especially in 2021 in our institution, or 2022 in our institution, the term as initiated or senior, advanced, these terminologies. What can we do? If you are senior and you are on some group, my God, you must have not received so many greetings on your birthday prior to that, ever in your life, that you receive on that, and you practically kind of feel overwhelmed by all of that. So once you have all of that now there is a pedestal there. So there are Gaur-Nita staying on the pedestal, and then we are also there. Like Haribol. So the mode of goodness. Let me give a simple example. This is from certain devotees' lives that there are examples that I've heard. Since I've heard, that itself means that there could be an issue with it. However, we'll not consider the point that I have heard about it. Like, there are some devotees that have told me that they have done book distribution and nobody knows about it. Nobody knows about it except me, because they've told me. And therefore I said that is where the catch is. There's some devotees who have told me that they go to some temple and they offer their services, just clean up the pots there. And nobody knows. Some temple, it's not that it is just the temples in our institution. They have gone to some temple and they've done it. Now the fact that they told me, it is quite possible that they must have told a few other people too. And that defeats the purpose. So are there events like that in our life? Is it helpful? Would that be helpful? Is that okay? You're welcome. Yes. Oh, by the way, that doesn't mean that we stop actively participating within devotional circles. That's not the idea. What I'm saying is that have we created a situation which is still a little problematic for us? Is there a way to address it? You're welcome.
A follow up to what you're discussing. So we at IS we have this concept called GNAB, Great News to be Broadcasted. So you do something good, and I have seen it that somebody else distributing books. Yeah, it does generate honor and respect for them, but internally, most often it inspires us in our own devotional service. That okay, despite their situation as a software engineer, as a family person, they're able to do so much. I should also be able to do better, or I can do something of my own. So how do we balance? Now, let's say we are posting something. We did something good. I mean, Krishna did something good through us. And certainly, I'm sure, would be beneficial for others. So do we, following the culture of broadcasting any good things that are happening, should we follow along and broadcast this message? While doing it also, how can we remain unaffected?
When the inspiration is coming from events like this, is there a thought put or a consideration, is a thought being considered as to, is this inspiration going to be perpetual? Or is this what is going to be the way we are going to be inspired perpetually? If that is the way we would be, comfortable with, then it's about the results more than being inspired. When I say perpetual, means even next year we have to beat our own record, the year after that we have to beat our own record. And if you're not able to do it, do we have sportsmanship, the spirit of sportsmanship, or are we going to take it a little? Would it be a little difficult for us to accept it? If it's going to be a little difficult, that means we have received the result in this lifetime only. The activity that we did, the phala has come. The result has come. So that is a challenge. The challenge is, how do we replicate what we have done without ourselves being in the picture again? It's like transmission of DNA to the next generation. We realize that after some time, our telomeres are going to go down. Before that happens, the genetic transmission should take place during the healthy time frame, so that the chromosomes, they're quite healthy enough, and they create a healthy next generation. So how long can we sustain by being the only beacon? If we do not have plans to see that there are other shores that also need those, what are they called as? The lights to guide ships. the lighthouses. How do we do that?
Are you asking Prabhuji that apart from this great news to be broadcasted, are there other sources of inspiration in your life?
No, I'm asking that would the great news be broadcasted from some other place the next time? Would the epicenter of a great news be somewhere else than where it was this year or for the past 2-3 years?
Center as in the great news is coming from ISV every year.
I'm not saying ISV. I'm saying, would the greatness that we feel is inspiring us, would that now move away from us and we still remain inspired?
Like somebody else distributing books, for example, will it inspire? Yeah. If it inspires us, then we're saying.
I'm not sure. It's supposed to inspire. How can we say it shouldn't be inspiring? Isn't it? We are supposed to be happy when Vaishnavas do well. See, we know all the theory. It's like dyslexia. We have sometimes dyslexia, Like we are good at understanding things, but when we try to picturize it, it kind of gets jumbled up.
Actually, at least in this case, it's not so complicated. I got it.
Let's hope so. So today, but we were discussing about our own practice. Then we brought in a world event. So we'll come back to our own practices. Isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Rohinipriya, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Achyut Kumar Prabhu, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Rohinipriya, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Such a
Just a sec, Prabhuji, just a sec. Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Rohinipriya, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I read this verse and we went over this in Bhakti Vikshas many times, but it did not catch the essence the way you have given today. So I was not fortunate enough to come in person, but I was reflecting when you are saying there are some family members not in not a devotee circle, not in ISKCON, these are not happening, but outside. When you're talking, I'm seeing that I have all these bad qualities, all the characteristics that you're talking about. Now, could you please explain a little bit about the characteristic of goodness, like to match? I know that might be another class by itself, but like if you can give some characteristics that could really help Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Achyut Kumar Prabhu, for your wonderful reflection. This is verse number 17 from the 17th chapter. 17, right? This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men not expecting material benefits but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme is called austerity and goodness. Let us look at the verse itself, because those words for people who grew up in India, they'll seem a little more relatable. Shraddhaya. So that is what was being explained as faith when I read that. Did we catch it? No, we did not. But now most probably we'll kind of relate to it more. Paraya. Not many of us. Paraya, you know what is paraya? So paraya. Same root. Beyond. That which is outside of us. Okay? Taptam. Taptam. More than austerity. Taptam. Yeah, that is a word for word meaning. I'm asking you, growing up, what does the word taptam mean to you? Like tapta kanchan gaurangi. Are we going to say austerity there? Burning, which means active sense. When you say austerity, it is passive. When you say taptam, it means here, right now. That is the difference between goodness, passion versus ignorance. Ignorance is passive. Goodness and passion are always in the active sense. Active voice always, active sense. Yeah? So whenever you say austerity, because the word to us in the English language brings that passiveness. Therefore austerity is like a foreign attribute. But taptam we know. When we cook, taptam. Deployment, taptam. Yeah? Which means we are present there. Deployment is a mode of passion. But taptam, right? You have to lead kirtan. See taptam. You have to give class. You're very much into it. So again, taptam. So when you're into it, into what you're doing, that is taptam. Alright? So now it becomes the austerity, because being there, being mindful is actually an austerity. Hence the word austerity has been used in the translation. Alright? Now if you just read the English translation, because English is our second language, not our mother tongue, we lose out on its meaning. We overlook it. Yes? So Shraddhaya, Paraya, Taptam, Tapastat Trividham, Narai. Tapastat, austerity in this sense. So that is what is called as a threefold. Now, if you read the translation, it is said the austerity in threefold ways. So which are the threefold ways? First is Paraya, for that which is beyond me. I'm not the center of it anymore. Understand Paraya now? Like Paraya, as soon as we know Paraya just belongs to someone else, okay, what? I don't care. Why? Because it's nothing to do with me. So Paraya, the sense of it is for me, goes when we think of someone else's needs. So that is Paraya. Now it's an austerity. To try and be, to have that approach in life is an austerity. Shraddhaya, faith. What is faith? What is Shraddha? Faith in English, again passive sense. One should be faithful. Yeah. Someday. But Shraddhaya. You know what is Shraddhaya? The next time you go to Tirupati and climb up, it's not like someday. So that is Shraddha. One step at a time with faith. At the end, what are you going to get? Tired legs, dirty feet, waiting in line, and darshan for 30 seconds. But faith. So that is called as living faith. It's different from just faith. There's faith that in the olden days in India, you know, like in the previous century, there was faith that the trains would arrive on time. Passive. Everyone knew that there was a possibility, therefore people would go and wait on the station for at least 2 hours. But it was passive. Isn't it? So that is also faith. But you don't do that while climbing Tirumala. The hill? Do you do that? No. So Shraddhaya, Paraya, Taptam, Tapastat Trividham Narai. These three kinds of tapasya performed by the practitioner. Narahi here means the practitioner. Afala, akansha. The word a has to be used for both. The prefix. Afala. Not desirous of personal benefit. To enjoy. One is desirous of benefit, but not of personal benefit to enjoy. What is the benefit? Good service. So sometimes afala again becomes passive, whereas it is very aggressive. Afala is about being concerned about the results to be offered to someone else. It's an austerity. Akanksha. Hankering. What is akanksha? Here it is said, no, afala kanksha bhir. So, afala, akanksha. Akanksha is hankering, desirous. Akanksha, the opposite. Because it is being used in terms of Shraddha, it is hankering not for oneself. So you are eager to chant nicely so that your constitutional position of serving Krishna is established. We do not want any biometric problems when we reach there. They ask us, scan your fingers, let us see if it is devotionally appropriate, and red flags. We don't want that. So we do everything to see that the biometrics are good. They're appropriate. So that is called as akanksha bhir yuktahi. So when this threefold austerity is combined with or flavored with afala and akanksha, satvikam prachakshate or parichakshate. Chakshu, it is seen to be. Therefore, parichakshate is, it is called. Is it all right, Achyut Kumar Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is very, very helpful. And especially the key is afala and akankshibir. So, yeah. And wherever we are having disappointments is when these things are not applied. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
You're welcome. Should we stop? Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We would like to thank His Grace Rohinipriya Prabhu for coming and gracing and giving a wonderful lecture. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And we would like to thank in our traditional way. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we also pray that Prabhu, you please come every year and give your association. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Now we have one short cake cutting ceremony of Her Grace Labangasaki Mataji's birthday today. Kids, if you all can come. Cake cutting. Revolve.